Today is Saturday, April 16th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 42, Week 6.
Yes, so I'm anxious to hear what all the other superfans thought about how they chose to deal with the mess they made with the turn back time twist.
This was the halfway mark.
Yeah, also, that's a big one with this one. These two episodes that we got back to back puts us halfway through it. It's bittersweet. It's like so good, I don't want it to be halfway done. Going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season lines up. And we've been getting we got little previews. I'm curious to see what the fans made of what we were given in this 2-hour episode. Get their insights, and because there's a lot to think about, given how the vote went, who voted for who, and who influenced those votes. There's a big power redistribution happening as they've come together now.
I know your brain's really been cranking all week. Just
we've
out
got
of the blue, you'll be like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what are you talking? Oh, Survivor.
We've got an important decision facing those of us who are playing in the fantasy league. So we got to decide if we want to hang on to that big, juicy Ultimate Survivor bonus of 24 points for the person we thought was going to win it all before we got to see any of their performance in the season. 3
a.m, Stacey going, hey, what do you think about?
We are night owls, aren't we? Well, I don't know if our fans are night owls. I know we've certainly been in some of their dreams, which we're going to hear about.
Okay.
I sent an emissary to remind someone to provide feedback, so we'll see how successful that was.
I see. How about we hear what Pete has to say?
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, my goodness. I am speechless. My head is spinning around and around and around. I don't know what on earth happened. This episode was nuts. Screw the monster that Probst wants to talk about and these Belier advantages. This was an insane episode. I wish we got this every time. I'm going to let out a great big woo! Bam! And after all that, I did not see Lydia, High's right-hand woman there, or whatever you want to say, going home like that. I really thought after all that was going on, it was going to either be poor Jonathan or Miss Cheerleader there with her big mouth, crazy mouth, Mary Ann. But it was neither, and it was the quiet Lydia, or you could even say underachieving Lydia, that went home there. Wow. I don't know where to begin, guys. All I'll say is Jonathan is Jonathan. Maybe not the best strategic player or not that good in puzzles, but man, that guy is a warrior. Reminds me of a younger version of Kevin Sorbo when I used to watch Hercules back in the day. Dun, 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 dun. I had to do that. Yeah, nuts. And Roxroy on him, exile. I wasn't sure, but I knew because of his relationship with Tori, there was no way he was going to keep the immunity the same with the team that lost. So he flip-flopped just like Erica did last year, but only unlike or similar to last year, it was a woman that went home that was blindsided. It was Cindy last time. This time it was Lydia, although Lydia didn't use her shot in the dark like Cindy did. But man, though, and Tori, real quick, guys, not that I'm a huge fan of Tori because she's always running her mouth and everyone sees her scheming. But man, she dodged another bullet, and I give her credit for winning that challenge. Stacey, you would agree too. When your back is to the wall and you have to rise up, Tori did it in the challenge. But I'd be remiss though. I love High. Everyone is catering to High, even though he got rid of Lydia there. It's looking good for him, Stacey. That's your USB, right? I'm pulling for you. Go get him, High. Do it for Stacey. And they're still not seeing him too much as a threat yet. Let's hope it stays that way. Can't wait now for this next phase. Take care, guys, and enjoy your Easter. Woo!
Woo. Thanks, Pete. We got an extra bam at the end of the woo.
I know.
That was something. Good deal. I think 2 hours merited an extra bam. Yes, I have definitely been thinking about High, and I read that interview with Lydia, or read 2 interviews with Lydia and watched a video, and I thought, well, I think I see it now. I can see why she was so easy to get rid of, to let go of, because she just wasn't offering a whole lot. And we had heard something like that with Jenny's interview, where Jenny said that Lydia would refuse to work with her. But Lydia said, yes, she indeed would run away whenever Jenny tried to strategize with her.
Why?
She didn't want to. She was afraid of Jenny's strategic ability, and she didn't want to discuss gameplay with her.
But wouldn't you want to know what she's thinking?
Exactly.
That
See, Lydia got on Survivor by going up, approaching Jeff Probst at a party in L.A. They were at both at the same party, and so she went up and pitched herself, and that's how she ended up getting on. But turns out she didn't have a whole lot to offer beyond that. And there's a reason the editors didn't give us a whole lot of her, because there just wasn't a lot available to choose from.
Well, that just tells me she's very social. She talks a good game.
She indeed described herself that way, but in the context of the game and being able to function and prove yourself valuable to your alliance members, now I'm starting to see why he was able to let go of her somewhat seemingly so easily.
Well, she was the only alliance he really had.
Exactly.
He's number one.
Yes.
But now he has other people that
he's got some much better choices. Yes. When he pledged do or die to Jonathan after only being around him less than a day, in the context of the game, I mean, it's a lot of that's gameplay, but you could tell there was a different kind of vibe going on between High and Jonathan than High and Lydia.
Well, I think, too, the fact that he found out that Lydia was targeting Jonathan in their alliance.
And his first reaction was he wasn't going to let go of Lydia.
Yeah.
But he spent some time thinking about it, weighing the pros and the cons, and went, well, I think the basket's fuller over here with the new group than it is with this one.
Well, but that's what she said. I want to go with the numbers. You were with the numbers. There's only 12 people. You had an alliance of 8.
Ineptitude at the game seemed to come across. So, yeah. When the main choices, when Tori and Chanel got taken off the table, she unwittingly, and through the strategic prowess of Omer, ended up putting herself in the crosshairs. Didn't even realize it was happening. Because like Pete was saying, Sydney last season, with those live tribals, she knew her name was in play, so she took the shot in the dark, even though it did nothing for her. Lydia said that she was truly blindsided. Didn't get it. Didn't see it coming.
I told her that they were after her.
Right, and there's more things going on after that.
Yeah, there's
and she thought she was okay. Yeah.
Well, that's what you want the person you're voting out to think.
Exactly.
Is that they're fine. Okay,
well, and
you and I probably should stop.
Okay, talking. All right. Thanks, Pete. Moving on. There's more to consider. Moving on. Here's a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Massachusetts calling in with my feedback for this merge, not quite a merge episode. I had a lot of enlightening moments with the cast and seeing them all in a different light, or just seeing them more now that they're all on one beach. Marianne is annoying and just immature. I thought her comments in the challenge in the first challenge were super unnecessary. Tori is getting an awful edit this episode, got an awful edit, but I'll give her credit where credit is due. She won the challenge. Yep. Speaking of, I was surprised how many people dropped in the challenge and didn't hustle to get their blocks back. Like, this is a very common challenge on Survivor, and they should know that you waste no time being upset that your blocks dropped, because the next person could drop in 2 seconds. So I was a little confused. Like, multiple people had a little mini tantrum moment or would walk to get their blocks, and I was just surprised by that, because these seem like really seasoned, smart players. In terms of the merge sequence, I thought Romeo, Hi, Mike, and Jonathan all had really great edits. And Roxroy had a lovely sequence on Exile as well. Really got to know him more, see him in a different light. But a lot of that really fell apart after the immunity challenge in the 8 trying to figure out who they were going to vote out, because Tori was safe and Chanel was now immune. And none of them were, they were all off base, at least initially in the conversation. And it was really Omar who was driving the vote, who wasn't even like a leader in the 8 or so we saw originally. And speaking of the 8, I thought that they handled the situation with Chanel on the beach so poorly both times. It was so awkward. And even the second time, they acknowledged they needed to make her feel comfortable, because last time they all walked away. And then from what we saw, which maybe there was more to that conversation they cut out, they didn't, and they were just like, okay, like, we're gonna go. And they did a horrible job. And I feel like even though she is somewhat of a liar and an unreliable alliance member, she's not stupid. She's very smart and perceptive, and she knows that something's going on. So they did not do a good job of hiding that. And then finally, I was impressed that the players all had the idea that Roxroy could change the outcome of the challenge, and the safe and the immune group would flip-flop, and they were totally okay with it, even though they quote-unquote didn't know from last season. But I do think that's true, because there would be no advantage for production to tip them off. But they all were very understanding, and they're like, it's the game, nothing's fair on Survivor. Even Roxroy's logic I appreciated, of like, well, the winners got to eat. That was their reward, and now immunity is the losing group's reward. And everyone except for Tori didn't really seem to have a problem with it, whereas last season it was such a big deal and they were so upset. And understandably so. I do think it's kind of an annoying twist, but Survivor is not fair. And I actually just watched a video. The producers can change the rules at any time, so they do. And they went with it. So, cool. Great episode. Looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I thought this was a great merge episode despite the hourglass shenanigans. At the first immunity challenge, I was so worried that we were going to get deprived of Jonathan rolling that giant boulder, but luckily we were not. Unfortunately for me, with Roxroy sitting out, I saw my hopes and dreams of getting a vote-off point fade away. I knew that he would be the one sent to exile, and of course that would mean he'd be immune, because obviously he's going to make himself safe. Please, Jeff, let this twist die. Immunity should not be something that can be taken away. As beastly as Jonathan is, I was super impressed with Mike's performance in the challenge. Mike is no spring chicken, and as you guys noted, it appears his body has some miles on it. Yet he showed the kind of strength that probably made him a great firefighter. I felt bad that Mike didn't get to eat Applebee's after he showed the kind of enthusiasm for their food that we haven't seen since Christiana's stint on Island of the Idols. It's funny how much the edit can change your opinions on people. I think I now dislike Tori so much that my disdain for Roxroy has started to fade. He seems like he can have an abrasive personality at times, but I'll take that over Tori's entitled, sarcastic, and at times childish demeanor. She seems like the kind of person who's never been told no. I wish it was a 3-hour episode so you could have watched the entirety of what Jonathan ate for the food reward challenge. I imagine it was something like 4 burgers, 3 boxes of onion rings, and 60 chicken wings. I really enjoyed all the time spent this episode getting to know the players a bit better. We already knew there was more to Jonathan than the muscles, but it's becoming even more obvious that he's got the brains to go with the brawn. And I feel like this was Omar's coming out episode. Hai is continuing to show why he's also such a great player. I feel like Lydia may have been able to stay on the show if she was willing to fight more for a spot. It sort of seemed like she was willing to go with the flow, and I think that hurt her. Chanel had an insanely bad episode. Those moments on the beach of her trying to join in the conversation were really hard to watch. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that next week Chanel will probably be my vote-off point unless I change my mind to Tori. So anyway, who's on your short list for being in trouble next week? I hope that everyone has a great Easter and safe travels to anyone that happens to be traveling. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Robert. Who's on your short list?
Tori and Chanel.
For sure.
So, and
looks like Romeo's on the outs, too.
Maybe even Marianne.
Yeah, they were willing to consider her.
I'm thinking Drea probably doesn't like her that much, so.
Yeah, that she was willing to invest that time and effort into disagreeing with her when she could have just as easily let it pass.
Yeah.
Because that seemed like a
That's
waste
why
of
I
energy
said,
nonsense
"Don't
thing in the
think she likes
context.
her."
Yeah.
And if you walk up to a group of people or they wave you over and they say, "We like you," be worried. Be very worried.
Or at least have the good sense to cover and go, well, I like you guys too. How are we going to get this done?
Yeah.
And
Instead
what
of
we were
just
shown
stare.
was, blank face staring. And her resting face is almost like the picture in the roster. It looks like a smile, but in her eyes, it's like her eyes aren't smiling.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Something throws you off. It's got I don't know if that's like a Stepford wife look or what, but now there's a great video. I'll see if I can find it that Charlie Brooker did. He's the guy behind that Netflix series. What is it? Broken Mirror? I can't remember what. Anyway, he gives us a great example of how reality TV editing can work. I think I've shown it to you before, right? I probably included it
I don't know.
in the notes, but he uses a scene very much like what we saw with Chanel, where someone comes up and says something to the effect of a joke, and then the editors cut to the straight face, no smiles or anything, of the people that you saw that person walk up to. But the trick is, those were scenes from a previous recording, and so he was really highlighting how you can manipulate the perception of what's going on just with these basic editing tricks.
True. We don't know that they did that, though.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of, but we know that they have done stuff like that in the
Sure,
past.
of course.
The edit, there's plenty of seasons where the edit did us bad. Last season being a perfect example of that.
It directs you the way it wants you to go.
For the narrative that they've decided on. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm a total sucker for it.
Yeah, we get pulled in all the time, don't we? Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother checking in. Lydia was voted out the last tribal. What a surprise. I thought she was going to win that immunity challenge, balancing that tray. Being a waitress, I'm sure she's had lots of practice balancing things, but that was a little tricky with the rope. I had Tori being voted out last week, and I thought for sure she was going to be going. I can't believe she won the immunity. Oh well, that's Survivor. Now, in Tribal, we got a good look at High. What happened to his face and his shoulder? My guess is he injured it on that challenge, pushing the ball up out of the hole and over the berms. Well, High is doing so well in this game, but he really surprised me when he even voted Lydia out of the Tribal Council. That was a surprise because he was willing to draw rocks for her earlier in the game. Well, speaking of rocks, Roy, he relished the chance to go on vacation on Exile Island. Built himself a nice little fire, nice little shelter. Of course, he hit the hourglass and turned back time. But Roxroy seems to be a little out of the loop when it comes to Tribal Council. I'm not sure why he voted for Lindsay on that Tribal Council. Maybe it was in case somebody drew rocks and there was a tie. Who knows? So, one final thing. Omar did a great job saving Jonathan. He was able to turn Lydia's remarks into a knife in the back. So he was able to save Jonathan. And Jonathan is making such great progress with his buddies on the tribe. First it was Omar, now Mike. I'm wondering how he's going to get along with Romeo and High, though. I think his next romance is going to be with Roxroy. So we shall see. But one thing about Jonathan, after this season, he's going to have a job as a spokesman for Applebee's. Boy, the way he tore into those chicken wings and burgers, he's a perfect person for that job. All right, I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. Bye.
That's true. There's probably several Applebee's. I didn't look it up, but there's probably several of them there in Gulf Shores, Alabama,
I'm sure there
where
are.
he lives and works. So he he could definitely make even a local commercial for them. It would go over well. I liked what Boother said, too, about referencing her bio, Lydia's bio, where she talked about being a waitress. That was a good connection. Mm-hmm. Good job, Boother. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. So much for my prediction about Lydia going far in the game. But I do think it was an enjoyable blindside to watch because historically the first vote off after the merge is obvious as people don't want to rock the boat yet. So they just go with obvious low-hanging fruit. It was fun to see a risky move and alliances made already.
Okay, let me interject something. Technically, it wasn't a merge until after the tribal council. I mean, I understand what you're saying. They did do a sort of merge, and they did merge, but it wasn't official until after tribal council.
Okay.
That's one point.
Rules nerd. Woo-hoo-hoo. Look out.
Check.
Next, let's get back to Erin. Players of the week, in my opinion, are Hai and Omer. Hai for initiating the 8-person alliance, and Omer for shifting the focus from Jonathan to Lydia. I don't think Jonathan saved himself. Omer did a lot of the strategizing by the looks of it. Jonathan is kind, strong, and provides for his tribe, which will also help keep him around. But I think Omer is the brains in that duo. I think Jonathan knows that too. That's why he went to Omer and said, "This is it. I need you now." Watching Jonathan eat at the reward was wild. 18 eggs in the morning. He should raise his own chickens. When Jeff introduced the hourglass decision to Roxroy, I couldn't help but think of the game Would You Rather. It's like, would you rather eat a bowl full of ice cream or broccoli? No brainer. Next time on Survivor, I wouldn't mind seeing Romeo go home because I really think he could use a meal at Ponderosa and he would make a great first member of the jury. That's true. And a fine Ponderosa king. He's going to do well in the jury, I'm sure. As for Tori, she may just squeeze by. I think she has the potential to be a challenge beast on the fine motor skills challenges that involve balance and puzzles, as they are the challenges that Jonathan would struggle with. What do you guys think? Looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Happy Easter. Thanks, Erin. Yeah,
that's probably true.
She's got a definite shot at it, and she made sure Jonathan knew, which was just another in a long series of her weird choices where she goes up to him and says, well, you're basically in my way of winning all the challenges to break the record, which is what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. That was an interesting choice again.
Well, yeah, I don't think her social game is what she thinks it is.
I wonder what that's like. This seems like a nightmare scenario to me. I mean, I've thought about this kind of stuff a lot, along with getting voted out first, where you don't get much of an experience.
Well, it could also be the edit, where the editors are just showing us that kind of stuff.
Like we were talking about earlier.
Because she talked about people perceiving her as the mean girl. So they're like, hey, we can make her the mean girl.
The mean, clueless girl who thinks she's doing fantastic. Yeah. But that it had to sting a little regardless.
Yeah.
Of, like, well, the worst case scenario is it catches you off guard. Like if Chanel and Tori were caught off guard by how they came across in that last episode, that could be a bit staggering.
True. I imagine it's really tough for a lot of people to watch it back.
Yeah, but these are rough.
See how they edited you, because
and to see what everybody else is saying about you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
when they're racing to say hard. Chanel's a liar. You can't trust her. She's a flip flopper. Tori's awful. She's just bounced
can't
around.
Trust her, blah,
yeah.
Blah, blah.
Well, it's like, do you really want that to be your Survivor legacy?
No,
that's rough.
Nobody does. But we know, we've seen the contracts. You sign it all away.
Yep.
They can do whatever they want.
All right. Thanks again, Erin. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hope you and the Survivor fans are all going well. Thought this week was really good. They did it justice this season, I thought, with a double episode back-to-back, as opposed to last season where they were separate. I thought production did a good job, albeit didn't really like Jeff telling us what was going on and kind of lying to us again. Didn't really need to know that. It was a good decision overall, but look, it's the same gameplay we saw, it's the same decisions. No one's going to make the opposite decision, are they? You're always going to break the glass. What's the benefit? I don't see it. you get to survive another day. That other day gives you the chance to possibly change the game, because we know this game now. This game isn't the same as what it was maybe 10 seasons or even 15 seasons ago, where if you're at the bottom, you're going to be at the bottom. There's always a chance for you to come out and immediately be in a power position. And this season, it just feels like the gameplay is a lot better as well. They're a lot more fluid. They're taking many more things into account. We're not seeing blocks per se, but just very much like a river, intertwining, changing, streams are forming. So it's really nice gameplay. Tori, yeah, let's not go there. My girlfriend's really, really getting sick and tired of her, and I am as well. And I can't believe her reaction. She's just, that excuse for Roxroy, like, really, you're so immature, and everyone else is seeing it. Everyone is seeing how she's playing. So, yeah. And Marianne as well, that reaction, I think it was unwarranted. I just think she's, again, bratty. I mentioned it last week. I think she's just very childlike, and not sure how she's gone on so far up to this point. The last thing I found intriguing out of all of this is the decision to get rid of Lydia. I don't know how High, who had such a strong tie with Lydia, was like a number one. It was like Ricard and Shan in terms of like that relationship, it felt. Was so willing to get rid of her. And the only thing that seems, I guess, glaring to me is that it was the perfect time to get rid of someone that could be competitive strategically against you and not have him in the jury and poisoning the jury. I don't know if that's something that he meant to do. He decided, hey, this is the best time to offload her. But my, I guess, hesitancy is why keep Mike, who's got an idol as well? Maybe he just doesn't think that he's a better player socially or physically. We'll just have to see. But yeah, he got rid of his number one, and long live General High. Thanks for all that you do, and we'll speak next week. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Shahin.
You know, I don't think they're going to do this again, the hourglass.
Certainly hope not.
Well, I think that's what Probst was saying when he was explaining to us before they came in for the challenge that we can do this again because they haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that kind
Let's
of
hope
implied
that
to me
is evidence of some
they won't
bit of
do it
self-awareness.
again.
Yes.
Once it's out there, then it's lost its for whatever they thought it had. So that's what I'm hoping.
And he could have just as easily not done the self-indulgent talking to the camera thing, but he did that again too.
Yeah, but at least he only did it once so far this season.
Twice. He did it in the intro too.
Yeah. He did in the beginning. I kind of
he's missing his talk show days for sure. Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got one of our two Chris's. We're blessed this week with two Chris's and two Kims. We got our first Chris coming up here.
Hey, Survivor fans. I'm about to give my comments for the Joanne and Stacy show. Hey, Joanne and Stacy. I really don't have any comments this week. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all that you do. You've really put together a wonderful community, and you've made a normal television show, which many would have quit watching, endearing and enjoyable and engaging. The JSFL game is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it this year. I don't know how long I'll keep doing well because I have Tori as my USB, and every week is like I'm on the balance board myself because she's going to be going home or she's going to be rescued, and, you know, I'm kind of tied to that, so I'm going to stick with it, even though everybody can't stand her. Go, Tori! You guys have a great show, and I hope that you have a nice Passover and a happy Easter. And I just wanted to tell all the callers that I appreciate your comments. It's great to hear your voices, and I love all that you do, especially you two, Joanne and Stacy. Take care. Have a great week, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Chris. That was Chris in Alabama.
Yeah. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. So last night I had a dream, and in this dream I realized I was almost late sending my feedback. So I was panicking. Okay, I was at like a choir event. It was at a hotel. It was over, and everyone was packing up and getting ready to go. At some point, that was at my old work, and I had left my stuff up at the hotel, and I was trying to think of who was there who could bring it down for me. But anyway, the point of this is that then I realized I was almost late to send in my feedback, and I was looking at my phone and about to call when someone appeared, and this is kind of dark, actually. I got shot in the leg by a hobo or something. I don't know. It was nuts. And I was, oh my gosh, I woke up and I said, I'm having way too much pressure about this. Maybe it's because I forgot to put in my picks this week. Luckily, my safe rolled over and I was fine. And I would have had Rockstar to go home anyway, I think, so no big deal. But point of this is I better send in my feedback right now before I'm driving home from work this evening and I realize I am too late. But yeah, I just listened to your recap. That was fun. And I thought it was a good episode. It was good that they put the two together so that it's not so much of a letdown. But 2 hours at this point in the season with only one vote out still seems really drawn out. I think having that at the beginning of the season is different because you're like getting to know everybody and there's a lot of stuff going on at the beginning of camp life. And I mean, a lot going on right now, just in a different sort of a lot. But anyway, it was okay. I was just glad that, I just was getting kind of bored at a certain point. I was like, they just need to vote somebody out at this point. It's taking too long. I think Rocksroy is kind of a tool. That part, like you pointed out about the nagging wife, and I just thought, dude, you were kind of on an upward, and then you just slid way back. Like I didn't much care for that. I thought it was kind of poor show. As far as good show, I thought that Jonathan is just killing it. I mean, he's not just the physical presence, but also very personable. Yeah, I am still liking Drea for my USB. I'm also liking Jonathan, but I honestly can't see either one of them being allowed to get to the finish. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, Lydia, I didn't have much of a read on her anyway. I think Jess is just hamming for the camera as ever. So if I think of anything else, I'll call back or drop it in the Facebook group. But yeah, I've been liking this season a lot. So, okay, everyone have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. I enjoyed your story. Oh,
maybe he slept well after he got his feedback in.
Yeah, or will, yes. Next, a lesson for all the other fans. Next up, we got a call from David.
Previously on Survivor. Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh. Wow, what a great 2-hour episode. I'm so glad the intro is back. I always like it because of the way I want to see how the producers are framing the different storylines. And it really helped because of all the advantages and idols that are out there and the connections because of it. A lot of great emotional moments on the show. I liked the Mike and Jonathan connection when they talked about being perceived as a blockhead. I loved the Hai and Romeo connection. I was in tears over that. I mean, I just see the support of one player for the other, regardless of how they end up winning or losing in the game. I thought that was a really important moment to see. And Rocksroy going to the island, I know he talked about his wife and his kids, but I think it was really joking. I had looked him up online, and he had said that he actually joined Survivor because of his wife, who was tired of him second-guessing the way people were playing, and she just signed him up and say, if you could do it better, here, go ahead and do it. So I just think it's part of their relationship. I didn't take it that seriously, but I was really touched when he talked about his vision problems and how seeing that beautiful vista was important to him and how blessed he felt for being on the island. I just thought that was such a great response. As for Lydia being voted out, I think she's more interesting for what we didn't see. I found out and looked up her on social media, and she's pretty comical. She has a lot of interesting comments. She's young. She seems like a fun person that did not come across on the show. I felt that when Hai and Mike voted against her, they just felt they were going to be dragged down if they stuck with her, and they are in a new alliance. She, I don't think was trying to turn that alliance around, but I think that she just always played a pretty passive, pretty fearful game, and I didn't see how she was adding to the game in any way. So sorry to see her go, but I really don't think anybody's really that upset that she did go. I thought it was a good, solid 2-hour episode. I thought Tribal Council was nerve-wracking for me anyway. No idols were played, no advantages were played. Now the contestants are going to be jockeying for influence or control next week. And next week, we're going to get our first Ponderosa video. So you can't ask for anything better than that. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Always with that optimistic outlook. Ponderosa video incoming. I think he nailed it too with Lydia. She must have in casting. She was cast as the snarky archetype. That's one that they love to cast, the snarky female. And she just didn't seem to deliver while she was out there.
And I don't know, David. It's just possible that Roxroy's wife signed him up so that maybe he would go away for a month.
Maybe it was mom on vacation too.
That's right. I need a
the
vacation.
Flip side. Yeah.
You go play Survivor and I'll open.
Yeah, I got this. You go ahead. I need a break.
Okay, up next we hear from Brian Hedick Save Us, a.k.a. Laurel. Greetings and salutations, Survivor fans. What a relief this latest iteration of Survivor has been compared to Season 41. The diversity of thought, in my eyes, feels more present this season, and I haven't felt prompted to unload my displeasure in email form. Although we are playing essentially the same game with nearly identical twists, the cast this season is championing authenticity over last season's frustrating theme of victimhood. Look no further than the juxtaposition of how Erica handled Hourglass Island to Roxroy. Yes, both cried, but for completely different reasons. In reflecting on the Season 42 cast, I'm immediately reminded of a classic 1987 movie that perfectly captured the time-honored battle of willpower and wits. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. Just stay with me for a second. This cast has to be the least physical of any previous season, well, at least in terms of the males, with one obvious exception. And in Nerds 2, the massive jock, Ogre, eventually becomes accepted and joins the Nerds. If you can't see the similarity between Ogre and Jonathan, I can't help you. What I find interesting is Survivor's decision to all but eliminate the alpha male archetype, yet simultaneously affirming it with Jonathan and his 6'4" frame. The cynic in me thinks Survivor's casting thought they were getting a stereotypical alpha jock from Alabama that would allow toxic masculinity to ruin his game and further tarnish the alpha male archetype. Maybe that sounds far-fetched, but some lesser podcasts have been quick to label Jonathan a misogynist for his interactions with Marianne. It's like they are just waiting to pounce. Speaking of pouncing, it's nice to see my name tied atop the side challenge, although it's way too early to start celebrating at Applebee's. Like Daniel, I started the season in pain as my USB was promptly sent home by episode 2. Ouch. If I'm correct about this season's theme, I'm now picking the person who is her most authentic self, even if it's only for 5 points. Cheers. All right. Thanks, Laurel. Up next, we have a call from Kim in North Carolina.
Or maybe Margarita Kim.
Margarita Kim.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Kim from North Carolina, sending in my feedback. So, I had to watch the 2-hour show on delay because I'm on vacation, but I would say Tori had a good week because she won that immunity and she completely needed it. Oh my God, her Angelina vibe is so strong. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so what did I think about the tweaks to the change history? So I had Erica as my USB last time and that worked out really great, but for me, I didn't feel the same about it with Roxroy. So I did enjoy his appreciation of the beauty of the Fijian Islands. And I guess that kind of ties in with how I felt about the whole week, which was everybody seemed a lot more human to me. And I just loved the way Mike was talking to other people and kind of connecting with them. And I think other Survivor players were doing the same thing with players from different tribes. So all in all, I felt like I got to know the people a lot better this week, which was nice. Overall, I would say many of the social games looked good. Mike, Jonathan, Omer. Really, everybody seemed to be trying to connect with somebody, except for Chanel, who didn't really seem to connect with anybody from where I was standing. Of course, the week has to go to Tori, who had to win immunity and did win immunity. And I think she is a force to be reckoned with. I was really impressed that Jonathan, via Omer, was able to stay in the game, and Omer's negotiating that we saw was quite impressive. So who's going to be first on the jury? I hope it's Tori, because I don't want her to win, and I definitely don't want it to be Jonathan. My USB is Mike, and I like him, but I think I like Jonathan the most. I think Romeo and Hai are absolutely forces to be reckoned with. At some point, Chanel is going to screw up, and so is Marianne. I'm still on the fence about Drea. A really strong personality, but could she say something the wrong way to the wrong person and it ends up biting her? I don't know. Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed the episode, and I'm enjoying this cast a lot, and that was the thing that ran through my mind the other day, which was, wow, I really like this cast so much better than the last season. So, take care, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, I agree. I do too.
I definitely think she could. Because,
oh, you're talking about Drea? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was agreeing with her about the cast. There's something so far that has made this cast much more enjoyable.
Case in point, her conversation with Marianne during the last tribal, that I really didn't see the point, and that could hurt you in the game. You know, I just didn't see the reason for it.
Other than Marianne was probably very quick to get on her nerves.
I know.
And she's not going to give her leeway if Marianne's going to get on her nerves constantly.
Still not helpful to your game.
Nope. But she's probably thinking, we need to set some boundaries for this child, otherwise she's not going to figure out her way in the world.
Yeah, well.
Not during the games, like you're saying, not the place to do it, but it might be part of what's running through her head.
However, now that being said, that I realize this danger, I don't plan to give her up as my USB because, you know,
she's definitely in the mix.
She's in the running. And it's 24 points if it happens. So
she's got options. She's got somebody she can throw away in Romeo or Roxroy. Yeah. Roxroy's like the dingleberry on the back end of that alliance. The minute Drea flicks him off, he's gone. So
now, had I chosen Tori, I know it's unusual for me, but I would have bailed in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Forget the 24 points.
I would run scared from Tori and Chanel at this point for sure. Those are the ones that are clear.
I'm keeping her.
Yeah, because she seemed to fit so easily in that power alliance.
Uh-huh.
She plugged in just like the others did. They were like pieces of a puzzle coming together. And
really, they were, weren't they?
Yeah, and that was the overwhelming perception I had, at least from the edit that we got. And I thought, well, I got to reevaluate her again.
And I mean, I would normally say, what are you doing for sharing that you have the extra vote with it? But it seemed to really work for that group of, you know, they seem pretty trustworthy. Now, not that it can't come back
she got
and bite her.
Yeah, but she got immediate cover in the moment from that group. She wasn't considered as an option to be voted out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Kim. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. What a fun episode, except for the hourglass. I still hate it. And I'm sorry, Jeff, you came across as so creepy when you looked at the camera and you then had to give me all the information. It was not what I wanted to hear. And I'm sorry, you lied. You told the team they had won immunity and then it was all taken away. So that's what I have to say about the hourglass. Now, Tori, she is so weird. The way she questioned Roxroy, just so uncomfortable. And after Roxroy changed the time or went back in time or whatever, the rant that she had, I just can't wait to see her go. It was so unfortunate that she won the immunity. Jonathan, I'm still loving him, and I'm so glad that he didn't get screwed over by the merge or fake merge or whatever, and he made it through. And my USB Omer, He is the best. I think he did a great job. And of course, he saved his buddy Jonathan. Roxroy on the Exile Island was so good. I just loved it. I think he would love to just live there by himself. And it was very nice, the bits that he spoke about there. And Mike, I'm really warming up to him, but he's the one person there we know who can't spell. So, on that note, I'll end. And happy Easter, everybody. Have a great weekend. Keep safe. Keep happy. Cheers.
Cheers, Rashmi. Next up, we got a call from our other Chris in Minneapolis.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling. I have to say I really, really enjoyed the 2-hour episodes. I'd take 2 hours every week. Just love all the behind the scenes, the strategizing, the social game. I think it's just amazing. I don't think CBS would ever do it, but I'd certainly sign up for it. As far as the hourglass tweak, not a big fan of the whole concept. I do like how they kind of made some changes, gave them some choices, but I agree with you guys. I think that they're so hungry that it just wasn't a realistic choice. I think over the years we've seen smart players give up food for any advantage, and it just seems like that was just not happening this season. So it just really was not realistic to put those things in. I have to say, really, really impressed with Omar. Haven't really seen him the last couple episodes too much. I've really liked him. But you just saw what an influential player he is in the game, and maybe it's a little foreshadowing of him as a future winner in the game and just what it takes to win Survivor, just the hard work and the manipulation and the, moving from one player to the next. And just if you were to tell me, hey, Omar wins Survivor, I could buy it just based on his maneuvering and all that. And it kind of made me think back to Erica winning. Still confused about why she won last season, but maybe she was doing stuff behind the scenes, but CBS just didn't have enough time to show that stuff. And if they had, I would have maybe bought into Erica's as a better winner. But, that's what happens when you have a 2-hour episode. You can kind of go in a little bit, do a deeper dive. So I think just really impressed with Omar. And I guess the last thing is Jonathan. I picked him to go this week. I thought it was kind of like what you guys mentioned in your show on Wednesday. It seemed like a good time to take him out. But again, I don't know that we're factoring in how hungry people are, what a provider he is. It's definitely been the long-standing trend to get rid of the physical threats, but if he's providing food, certainly making people think twice about that. Plus, on top of that, it looks like he has a pretty good social game. So, great episode. Loved it. Can't wait to hear what other people say. Bye for now.
Thanks, Chris. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California, remembering for the second time to do my feedback this season. I loved this episode. I really felt like it was amazing to see everybody's personalities as they merged and to really see kind of who's in and who's out. I actually felt a little bad for Chanel as she kept walking up to everybody and they kept dispersing. And I definitely think Chanel and Tori are completely on the outs. And I don't know, I feel like they might be the first to be on jury. I'm kind of wondering who's going to be the vote-off next week. I got 3 vote-off points in a row, which I think might be more than any vote-off points I've ever gotten in the entire time of playing JSFL. Right. I'd love to keep that streak going, but it probably will tank after this. I feel like Chanel and Tori definitely could be the next to go, and maybe Romeo. And here's why. And this is why I think Lydia got voted off. They all came together. They formed this great alliance. They had fantastic numbers. And Lydia was kind of the first one to wiggle and say, maybe I won't vote with everybody. And that cost her being in the game. And I really thought it was cool of Hyde that he knew when to fold them. He knew when to stop standing with Lydia and say, I can't carry her along anymore. She's not going along with the plan. And I was actually really proud of him for knowing when to call it. definitely a good move on his part. He is my USB. I feel really good about him. Again, Roxroy, why didn't you vote with everybody? You know, they totally brought you into the alliance, but you didn't vote with them. Very interesting. So I'm interested to see what happens next. It was really funny when they were bringing up Jonathan's name. I really didn't want him to be voted off. I really want to see more of Jonathan's story. I want to see more of Dre's story. I want to see more of Hi's story. There's some people I'm really invested in, and some people I'd like to see go, like Chanel and Tori. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm waiting out the rain in Northern California this morning so I can go outside and play, and loving the season, loving all the feedback. I hope to keep remembering to get mine in on time. And you guys have a great day. Bye.
All right, you better remember, Rebecca, or I'll send a hobo with a shotgun to shoot you in your dreams to remind you. See how I tied that together with Drew?
Yeah. Maybe not tie that together anymore.
Consternation. That would be that face. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, Jeff needs to keep tweaking the hourglass twist if they insist on keeping it. He's still lying to the winners, and only an idiot would increase their vote-out chances by leaving the hourglass intact. On the other hand, it's better and fairer than what the Season 41 cast got. Yeah, mildly so, huh? Here are my other observations. Could you imagine interviewing with Chanel and getting that gimlet glare? Yeah, gimlet glare. That's a good description. Note to Roxroy, when life gives you limes, lemon-faced Tory appears. That's good, isn't it? Lemon-faced Tory.
And he was,
how descriptive.
As he was picking the lines.
Yeah, how descriptive of her face, too. Mike would die for his friends. For Chanel, not so much. Tori keeps surviving and causing unrest. She sounds like the cockroach of chaos. That's perfect. You can see a cartoon with her face on a cockroach there. She's the villain. We got a 2-hour episode, but 20 minutes of it was a commercial for Applebee's. That was a bit much. Of course, Jonathan manhandled the giant globe. He's Atlas. Perfect. As long as Jeff promises safety from the merge vote while burying an hourglass, he'll be a lying liar who lies. I wonder if that's going to hurt him with the future contestants. Because you can't, really what he did was he's completely violated the trust. Now he's in the position of power, so he probably not in a good position to call him out for it. But
no, and it's Survivor, and you know, it's just like with Big Brother. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, I don't know that he's crossed the liar line like that before. He's certainly been deceptive, but the straight out lying for these two, I think he lost his way during the pandemic. And
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, back to Josh. In the merge challenge, I almost expected Jonathan to toss his teammates up onto the platforms. Now, that would have been funny. I'd like to change history and prevent the creation of the hourglass twist. Yeah, let's turn that time back.
Perfect,
yeah.
yes.
This week in mythology, Jonathan plus Boulder equals Atlas. Drea plus Boulder equals Sisyphus. Yes. Yeah, what a great contrast. Did Mike dare the Survivor gods to send him home with an idol in his pocket? He did put that out there. I've got to know, how much did Jonathan eat at the merge feast? I think we all are curious about that. Definitely a good interview question. Drea figured out the hourglass twist. Too bad she was on the losing team. Stay-at-home dad Roxroy was a DOV, dad on vacation on Exile Island. Yes, this is the first time I've thought we could have merch. We could have a dad on vacation t-shirt and a mom on vacation t-shirt to go along with some kind of podcast logo or something. No, it's like our signature taglines, you know. No? Oh, okay. Hi has Romeo's back until he stabs it. What would have happened if Roxroy dropped the hourglass before Jeff arrived? Yeah, I was thinking that too. That free meal from Applebee's turned out to be pretty costly. It did indeed. Yes. Yeah, let's call that the Applebee's curse.
Yeah, I don't know that they wouldn't do it again, though. Like Jonathan said, he was starving.
On Thursday, Roxroy's wife sent him back to exile to build a couch to sleep on. Have you ever noticed how the one who needs to go often wins immunity? Yes. Well, I think that's called motivation.
Yep.
I'm shipping an alliance between High and Jonathan. I'm shipping ship name High and Mighty. Oh, okay. I'm shipping an alliance between High and Jonathan. Ship name High and Mighty. I get that, but somehow I'm lost reading it. I get High and Mighty. Jeff's neighborhood has a high crime rate due to rampant backstabbing. There you go. Perfect. That's I think that's called Hollywood. Omer thinks he's old at 30. He's a veterinarian. Does he age in dog years? At Tribal, Marianne and Dredd disagreed on agreeing to disagree. Roxroy didn't chase off the giant beetle because they make good eating. Next time, let chaos reign. With so many names mentioned, is only Jeff safe? That's a great tag there at the end. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. You killed it. Next up, we got a call from Taylor.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's Taylor from Alabama. This is my first voice recording submitted to the podcast. I've done email recordings before, but I was typing out this week's feedback on the email, and I was thinking this would probably sound better if I just said it because I couldn't really get the words on an email. So let's get right into it. I noticed a lot of things with the episode this week that I thought were very interesting. First of all, Lydia going home, totally called it, walking on air today, because I got another vote out point this week, which I'm absolutely thrilled about after getting my vote out point for Daniel last week. So very, very excited. So I kind of saw that coming throughout the episode, so I had that in the back of my head. Romeo and Tori seemed to have this kind of weird rapport with each other where they were joking around and stuff like that. And I thought that was weird because they haven't really been on the same side before, so maybe they have some sort of relationship that we don't know about, or maybe that was just playing it up for the camera. I have no idea. And speaking of Tori, I am definitely regretting choosing her as my USB. I actually switched my USB just a couple minutes ago from Tori to Lindsay because I really do think Lindsay's in a good spot to win this game. I think the winner's going to come from one of Lindsay, Omar, Drea, Mike, and Romeo. And I think Drea's getting a good edit, but I see her as kind of a shield for the eventual winner to take down. Same thing with High. I think High and Drea are kind of in the same boat there, where I don't think either of them are quite the winner. I think they're going to be that obstacle for the winner to overcome. Mike, I think, is a really big contender, but I'm kind of sticking with I think a woman's going to win this season, which leaves me with Lindsay. So I think she's in a pretty good spot. But Tori, every time she goes on camera, I just want to slam my tongue in a car door because she doesn't get how to read people. She says the wrong thing, but she thinks she's saying the right thing, which makes it even worse. She makes for good television, I guess. And I was really excited to see Omar step up because we haven't gotten to see a lot of what Omar can do socially and strategically. So I was really happy to see him kind of take charge on Lydia's vote out this week, which was really, really cool to see. I don't think Chanel, Marianne, Roxroy, or Tori have any chance of winning. I think they all play too emotionally or are just way out of it. And Jonathan, I love Jonathan. Jonathan and I are from the same city, which is really cool, but I think he's going to get taken out at the first available tribal council. So I'm going to go, but Joanne and Stacy and everybody else, hope you all have a great and safe Easter weekend. Goodbye.
Thanks, Taylor. Good job on your audio, bud.
Yeah, I think Omar's stock went way up this week.
Yes. Definitely, he got the killer edit there at the end. He rose to the challenge, it appears, and defended his buddy Jonathan and delivered him to safety. So it was Omer's big shoulders. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's KimJ from Nashville. I finally got to see an episode before the weekend, so I was able to contribute feedback this week. I had to pick a new USB, so I picked Omer, who really impressed me this week, which means he won't win because I'm incapable of picking a USB that wins and does well. So that's advice to some of you that may be thinking about Omer. Maybe not, since I picked him. Who knows? We'll see. But he had a great week, and I thought he was very smart to go to everybody first and get the vote on Lydia before going to High, and he really boxed High into a corner. And now that High doesn't have Lydia, frankly, I think him and Mike need to go back to Chanel and bring Chanel back in. I don't really see them doing that, but they're in a really tough position with just the two of them, and I think they really need another number. Even though Romeo was left out of the vote for whatever reason, Drea still has Romeo as a number, I would imagine, which still puts her in a good position with having Roxroy. And they're going to need some numbers if they're going to knock out the Taku bunch. I mean, there's 4 of them, and they're all pretty tight. So it looks very good for them right now, for sure. I think Jonathan certainly is going to stay on people's radar. But speaking of Jonathan, did you realize he didn't have on any shoes in the challenge this week with that big, gigantic ball? Has he been doing that all season? Because I haven't noticed. And I'm like, does he just have superhuman feet as well, too? Because I would be worried about that ball rolling over my foot and breaking some bones. But who knows? So the Exile Island twist. I definitely thought it was better this season. It really sucked the life out of me last season with the Hourglass twist. It just didn't sit right with me. So I thought the tweaks that they made were improved. That being said, I still don't like it. I don't need them to tweak it again. I need them to just not have it again. But it was better. And he was basically just goading them for somebody to go. Great power. Change the game. And they still didn't do it. So I definitely felt better about it. And who better to go to Exile Island than Roxroy, who's just, I don't know what to think of him. He's like part Philip Shepard on one hand and like part, I don't know, Shambo. Like I can't figure him out. Anyway, good luck with you guys with your taxes this weekend. I've been working on ours for the last week and we owe money this year, which means I've been very unhappy this week, except for the 2 hours that I watched Survivor. And so happy Easter also to everybody and look forward to hearing what everybody else says.
Thanks, KimJ. Good job. Great to hear you again. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. It's Jeremiah here. Sorry, everyone. I've got a bit of a cold, so I sound a little funny. But then again, I always sound a little funny. As for this episode is concerned, yeah, this is definitely the best version of this twist of having this fake merge thing and having the hourglass. I would definitely rather watch 2 hours of Survivor and have someone, leave the game at the end. It makes it obviously much better. So yeah, I'm in agreement with everyone on that aspect. But as been mentioned by pretty much everyone, I think I would still prefer for them not to do this whatsoever. Now, I know I'm in the minority on this, but I was okay with Jeff talking to us this particular time, mainly because of the fact that he was letting us in on about the changes they were going to make. Now, granted, he had to gush over Applebee's for quite a bit of time there, but I'm okay with that because, hey, if it means we get sponsors to keep Survivor on, by all means, I will go to Applebee's this weekend. Last thing I want to mention on this particular subject is of course, we all agree that there is no decision for Roxroy if he is making the decision to keep himself safe. So we can all agree the best way to have that is make him immediately safe already, and then that way he has an interesting choice to make on who he wants to keep safe and who he does not want to keep safe. To me, that's a much better television, much more interesting and exciting gameplay. Now, I do love the twist where they give the winning team the choice on who exactly will be going to Exile Island. I like this. I mean, we all know no one's going to give up the chance to eat Applebee's to go and hang out on the island by themselves. But it's a fun aspect. Now, one more thing I think I would have done. So here's how I would have done this. I would have done pretty much almost everything the same except for this. So I would have gone ahead and give them that option. They could actually send someone of their own. But once they made the decision, I would have turned and tell Roxroy, you are safe. And at some point before you come back, you are going to decide now who really is going to be safe and who is not going to be safe. And the reason why I would have done that is because that would have caused all kinds of drama. Because that means for the next day or so while he is gone, they're all going to be wondering, oh my gosh, who really is going to be safe? It would have put so much drama. It would have been just great. So there's my idea. So the gameplay. So obviously Hai and Omar I thought really came out very well in this episode. But I think Omar really is the one who really shined most of all. He would get my gold star from this. And we've got a big decision to make next week. And I have to admit, I'm kind of leaning towards switching with them. But it's really hard for me to give up a 24-point USB, and especially considering how well Hai is playing. Now, as far as who's going to go home, right now I think it's probably going to be Tori or Chanel. Seems to be the most obvious pick, and I'm going to go with Chanel. All right, well, that's it for me. You guys take care, and until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. What a disappointing episode. I mean, where do I start? I mean, let's just rewind that here. This was a great episode. It was 2 hours. It was tribe drama. It was all those good things. But I was so disappointed because they, and by they I mean the editors, they looked like they were just serving Tori up on a silver platter to be voted off. And I was here for it. There was her hubris and her confidence in her confessionals. There were the scenes of her being extremely annoying. There was tons of footage of her dumping all over Roxroy. And then he gets the turn back time hourglass, and then I just died inside when she won immunity. I'm telling you. So Tori not getting voted out was really my biggest disappointment. But there was more than just that. There was the return of the turn back time hourglass. I would have liked it better if there was a dilemma of someone who had a strong power position in the game getting it. The fact that the biggest underdog of the season, it seems, got the hourglass again, I really felt like it was a rerun. I wasn't thrilled with it. But do you want to know what I was most disappointed in? We had the return of Jeff talking to us, telling us all of the things that we could figure out for ourselves when he was talking to the contestants. I am just not a fan of that. Okay, but enough about that. What did I love about this episode? You know what I loved? I loved Omer stepping up after saying initially that he was just going to keep quiet and lay low. When his alliance needed him, when Jonathan needed him, he went to work. I thought that was great. I was also impressed with Marianne. Now, I know we only get to see snippets out there, and there was a lot of time that we don't see. But what I was impressed with her was that she cried in her confessionals. I never really saw her cry when she was interacting and scheming with other contestants. And she knew she was on the chopping block there, but she saved all of her emotions for private. I took notice of that, and I thought that was great on her part. And finally, Hai was so intriguing, and honestly, it didn't intrigue me till the final moments of the show when we realized that he actually voted for Lydia. Those votes were all over the place, and it shocked me to learn that he voted for Lydia, especially after he went so far as to be willing to go to rocks to save her. Did I say this episode was disappointing? No, it wasn't disappointing. This was a solid 2 hours of Survivor, and although the end result was something I definitely didn't want to happen, I loved every minute of it. My worry now is, now that Tori has survived this initial merge boot, she just might turn into that goat that everyone wants to take to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope not. But I guess we'll see. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, Tori's definitely tracking as a goat now.
Yeah.
You know, Mike basically called it out. She's just digging the hole deeper for herself when she was going after Roxroy before the challenge started, the immunity challenge. And yeah.
I'm hoping she either goes next or right after Chanel. Of course, we know how that can change. That's what they want us to think.
Yes, absolutely. So who's at the bottom right now? Chanel, Tori, evidently Romeo, because he voted in the wrong direction.
Marianne, did she vote? Who did she vote for? She's with them, isn't she?
I can't remember how the votes panned out, but
The little people were going to stay together, her and Romeo?
Yeah, Tori, Romeo, Chanel, and Roxroy is kind of at the bottom because of him being so clueless.
He's just not even a factor.
Here's the thing. He's not a vote.
He's not
even a vote.
in with the voting.
Yeah.
He just votes randomly whoever he wants to vote, and it's like he's just out of the loop.
Yeah, so you could pretty easily drop him too at this point.
Why do you need him in your alliance if he's not voting with the alliance? You don't need him.
The thing that maybe you could wrangle him back around for a vote. Maybe. He's pretty bullheaded, it seems.
But could Romeo also pull him back that way?
The other question that's haunting me is...
Haunting you?
Yes. In regards to the alliance, the majority alliance, will they be able to stay together, or are they going to get too worried about each other so they start fighting? And then Chanel and Tori and Romeo all get a pass, even potentially Roxroy.
It happens.
As the smarter, more strategic power players go after each other. If they can hold back from doing that right now and take these easy outs, Chanel, Tori, Romeo, Roxroy, then I don't know, maybe that's more boring, but it seems like these folks are going to go after it. Yeah. Yeah, because the others you like even more.
Wouldn't be boring me at all.
Yeah, because the other characters are so much more loved at this
do
point.
it.
Yeah, but there's got to be a tendency. General High, Omer, they could end up facing off. You just never know how. I mean, look at the mess that Lydia caused when she suggested Jonathan. And now all of a sudden you need Chanel, you need Tori, so you're making deals with the devils, and basically they get a pass. They get to hang on the outside while you tear each other apart, and then they can get to come in and sweep
they
up
had
the
immunity
scraps.
anyway, so that
Yes.
didn't matter.
Yeah, I'm not talking about last time. I'm talking about going forward. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
kind of thing that can happen. Exciting, very much exciting. So I'm with everybody else. There's so many people you can cheer for. Of course, it makes it harder when you got to decide who you're going to roll with as your
Yep.
USB.
It's a big decision. And even the vote-off's a big decision because this will be first on jury, which is 2 points
Give you a
instead
little
of
extra
1.
point. Yeah.
And so it's a big week all around.
Okay, we want to say a big thanks to everybody who contributed this week. We enjoyed that thoroughly. Really appreciate it. You know, it's a busy holiday week for lots of folks. So thank you so much for stepping up and sharing your thoughts about that special 2-hour episode. And we also want to give a big thanks to Kim. Thank you so much for your subscription donation. We appreciate your continued support, helping us with the operational cost of the show.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 7 picks. 1 vote off and 4 safe. Also, this is your only chance during the season. If your USB has been voted out, you can select a new one for a possible 5-point bonus if they win. If your USB is still in the game, but you want to choose somebody else, you may do that for a possible 10 points if they win. What you can't do is change from a 24-point USB, then go back to them for 24 points. You can go back to them, but only for a possible 10 points. So be very sure before you change it.
We would love to have you come be a part of these listener feedback shows. You can see how much fun we're having, how interesting this is. Certainly got this feel that we got a better season here, 42 greater than 41, the way it's going right now. Love to have you come be a part. The voicemail, 206-350-1547. Toll free, 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio the way Taylor did and send it in. You got the best shot at quality that way. Or you can type it up in an email and we'll read it for you. The email address, joannandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. And we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range.
Okay, anything else you're burning to tell us about?
No. Nope.
The episode?
Excited for the next one. How is this going to play out? How are these, so many power players, so many people have great choices. There's just a lot of people that we're all excited to watch them play. And we don't have like evil villains, but there's definitely some villainous type players that we're curious how their game's going to go to.
All right, well, everybody have a happy Easter, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday for the recap show.